Pokemon promo cards are really weird. So I went through and I found the weirdest promo cards Pokemon has ever released. Starting with this weird promotional card that only ever had 5 versions printed. This is the Doug Ferguson GX card. Pokemon has spent decades building a global empire, and in order to do this, they had to employ the very best of the best in order to promote their brand and products. One of these people they hired was Doug Ferguson, the former Senior Vice President of Product Development for the Pokémon Company International. He worked for Pokémon for years, and in 2019 he announced that he would be leaving the Pokémon Company. However, Pokémon wanted to give him something to acknowledge the impact he had on the Pokémon franchise, and so they created this Pokémon card. This card will never reach the market. It had 5 versions printed, and all of these were given to Doug Ferguson. The thing I find funniest about this card is its ability New Chapter. This ability literally just blocks you from actually playing this card. On top of that, his GX attack is Develop a Product GX, where you can open any TCG box and add the promo card in the box to your deck. If this was a legal card, it would cause so much chaos in literally any match. But this is just one of many weird Pokemon crossover cards on today's list. Let's now talk about a card from the X and Y era of Pokemon that has become kinda synonymous with weird promo cards. Mega Sacho EX. For years, fans were speculating whether this card was actually a real thing, but I can confirm that it is actually real. But where did this card actually come from? Well, in Japan, this card was given out to attendees of the 20th anniversary TCG Countdown event. Unfortunately, this card is unplayable because that pre-evolution to the Mega Sacho was never created. Its actual move is quite interesting. It roughly translates to Galaxy Voice. This 4 energy fairy type attack would make you sing "ah" for as long as you could. While you held this note, your opponent would count the number of seconds, and when you finally stopped, you would do 10 damage for every second you held the note. But you see this little yellow text above the weaknesses and resistances? Yeah, that basically says you cannot play this card, and it is not an actual Pokemon. People in Pokemon really do mix to create some of the weirdest Pokemon cards, and the Pokedude is no different. Back in 2004, Pokemon was holding a huge Pokemon Festa. Sets of this card and a Munchlax promo were given out to members of the Japanese Daisuki Club members. It is estimated that about 272 copies of this card were made and released throughout the 2 months the event was going on. And its supporter effect is actually really cool. It roughly translates to do the teach me pose, and ask your opponent a question that does not have to be match related. If your opponent could not answer, you would draw 2 cards. The card also had subtext to show you how to do the teach me pose, saying you needed to copy the pose of the Pokedude who features in the card. Yeah, humans and Pokemon cards really don't go together. Detective Pikachu was a very interesting arc for the Pokemon Company. Finally, after decades of asking, we were going to be getting a live action Pokemon movie. The movie was a huge hit, and so Pokemon released a tie-in set all across the world, the Detective Pikachu set. This is the Lieutenant Yoshida supporter card. Not only is this weird because it's a human in a Pokemon card, but it was also only released in Japan. The card was honestly kind of boring. Your opponent would reveal their hand and you would draw 2 cards, which is fine, I guess. It's just not very different or unique like the others on the list today. Right, let's move on to an actual Pokemon now. Not a supporter or an item or a weird event thing, but rather a Japanese jumbo card. Look at this card. It features Pikachu, Chespin, Froakie, Dedenne, Fennekin, and Inkay. A pretty stacked roster, well, except for Inkay. And yet, that is the Pokemon this card is all about. This Jumbo card was released in November and December 2013 to commemorate the grand opening of the Tokyo Bay Pokemon Center. With any purchase in the store, fans could receive either this card or a specially designed shopping bag. It's just a bit of a weird Pokemon to turn into a promo card, let alone a Jumbo card. This card was not legal for play, but it had 2 moves. Happy Open, which would allow both players to search their deck for an item card. Then you also had the, well, it's okay attack. And this one is weird. You would flip a coin. If heads, the attack would do 50 damage. If tails, you had to mumble, well, it's okay. I love weird promo cards like this. I'm gonna be completely honest, I have spent what feels like hours looking into this next promo card, and it still makes 0 sense to me. This is the Suzuki San X and Y promo card. Remember the Mega Sacho EX card? Well, this card was also given out at the same event. The card features the Suzuki San rap group, which was a prominent marketing campaign in the early days of Pokemon. This group features the iconic and globally known Imakuni, and then the less well-known Kobayashi and Raymond. It is a cool promo card, and is really rare nowadays. Pokemon in Japan really does have an interesting promotional campaign, and this next card captures that even more. This is the Poké TV AD Pikachu. Let me give you guys a bit of a backstory. Pokémon Get TV is a Japanese Pokemon TV show that talks and shows all things Pokemon. It was actually quite successful and ran from October 2013 to September December 2050. Every so often, Pokemon would change around the cast and name of the show in order to keep it relevant within Japan. But the Pokémon Get TV was probably one of the best, and it even had a promotional card to go with it. In the summer of 2014, participants of Pokémon Get TV's Summer Thanksgiving event were able to get this Poké TV AD Pikachu. The card features the Assistant Director Pikachu. Yes, that is what AD stands for, and various supporting cast members as well. It's not that weird in comparison to what we've seen so far, but I felt it was worth mentioning because I kept reading it as Poké TV and Pikachu. Honestly, these promotional Pikachu cards are a big reason I want to visit Japan. They're all very weird and cool, and these next 4 are no different. I have put all of these in one entry because they were released in the Pokémon Center Tokyo DX store to celebrate the opening of this Pokemon Mega Store. The Pokemon Company ran an event where you could get one of these 4 Pokemon cards if you bought at least 5 booster packs. The cards are a bit weird. You first have Hakama Pikachu, which is the more traditional Tokyo attire Pikachu. Then you have the Fire Pikachu, for some reason. Does Tokyo have a lot of fires or something? Then you have the Gentlemanly Pikachu, which is of course Pikachu, but you know, a gentleman. And then finally you have my favorite, and a card I actually own, the Cherry Blossom Afro Pikachu. Just look how adorable it is. Okay, let's go back to a Pokemon card with an actual human on it. Only this time it's actually done pretty well. This is the Abareru-kun supporter card from the Sun and Moon era of Pokemon. To celebrate the release of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, Pokemon wanted to run a campaign in Japan where people could get a variety of prizes, cards, plushies, and more. The prize distribution was based on how many items you purchased from the Pokemon card game website. Everyone who bought cards and then entered this competition would be sent the promotional Abareru-kun card. In total, roughly 5,000 copies of this card were distributed, but only 1 card could be attained by everyone who entered. One thing I find quite funny about the card is its supporter effect. It translates to tell a joke if your opponent laughs, draw 3 cards. This sounds like a really funny concept for competitive play. This next weird promo card is the Touch Exchange Plusle and Minun supporter card. Back in 2006, people were losing their mind over Plusle and Minun, especially in Japan. And technically they were the first ever Pika clones and went hand in hand with each other, which is super cute. And to celebrate this unique duo, Pokemon decided to run a unique event known as the Plusle and Minun Tag Battle. As I said, this card is interesting because of how it is played. At this event, you would play the TCG somewhat normally. However, this card would be used to switch your hand with your opponent. I miss the days where the TCG experimented with weird and wacky styles of play. This card was given out to every participant at this event and has gone on to become one of the most uniquely designed Pokemon cards ever. We have mentioned a lot of human and Pokemon collaboration cards, and they are all pretty weird. However, this next card is human as a Pokemon. This is the Coco Sword and Shield promotional card. Unfortunately, the West never really shows Pokemon movies in theaters anymore. There's just not much of a market for it. However, in Japan, almost every Pokemon movie has been released in theaters, including Secrets of the Jungle. This movie followed the Zarude colony as they tried to protect their sacred tree from tree loggers. The movie is actually pretty good and was very popular in Japan. And in preparation for this hype, Pokemon printed 3 million of these Coco cards to be given out to the first attendees of the Secrets of the Jungle movie in theaters. The reason I find this card to be weirder than some of the ones with humans in them is that this is just Coco. But we're not done with Secrets of the Jungle just yet, as we have another promo card from this movie, the Well-Rounded Musician Supporter card, sometimes called the Plump Musician. The card was given out inside of the Secrets of the Jungle CD soundtrack, and barely anyone knew it even existed. These next 2 cards may be the weirdest of the video, the Mario and Luigi Pikachu cards. Poncho Pikachus are all the rage. Almost everyone has seen Poncho Charizard or Rayquaza before. However, the Mario and Luigi Pikachus are even weirder. In Japan, these cards were given out in both the Mario Pikachu special box and the Luigi Pikachu special box. They are super weird, and oh, I want them so bad!